Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next segment of the Founders Interview. Today, we are discussing failures and successes. I'm joined by our founder and CEO, Ash Vipani. So let's get started. How are you, Ash?
I am good. I'm good.
So my first question for you for this segment is starting your own company can be super tough, super challenging. Even with all your experience from previous jobs and startups, what has been your biggest challenge starting SupportRoom and growing it?
I think starting any startup is definitely a shock to the system when you first start, right? Uh, it's important that when you do start, the first thing is you definitely need people around you that are experienced, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have those experienced people, the stress of a startup is far greater.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's about having people that you can brainstorm with, people that you can discuss your challenges with,
Yeah.
and also people that have been around the block. They've experienced these things already, and they can steer you in the right direction, and that's really important. But having a startup like Support Room, there's been many challenges since we first started. The first challenge was really getting the technology off the ground
Yeah.
and ensuring that we had the money to do it, which was the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
When you've and that was a definite challenge. We were building something off a shoestring. Right? So we had to constrain ourselves in terms of how much we were spending, how we were spending it, the type of resources we had. But we were quite lucky from the beginning because, you know, we had one developer that joined Support Room right at the beginning, and he became unwell. That became a huge challenge because it delayed the project by 3 months. But actually, we were introduced to another developer, which is still with us today, and he he allowed us to really be creative. He put his own thought process into our development. But then we also, the other challenge was we're not clinicians, right?
Yeah.
We're not
Exactly.
therapists, we're not coaches, etc. Yeah, we know data because that's my background.
Yeah.
Uh, the challenge was is that we needed to connect with somebody that was understood this space, really understood the pains, the challenges, but also you know, practices in the real life. And the other focus was somebody that had credibility. So we were quite lucky from the beginning where we were introduced to lots of therapists that sat within the NHS, right? And
Yeah.
those therapists, after conversations with myself and they understood my passion and where I wanted to take this, really wanted to join our organization as advisors. And the challenge there was how do we motivate these individuals? How do we keep them aligned with what we're doing? And the key focus is that we fully ingrained them in the organization. We
Yeah.
fully ingrained them in our vision, right? We fully ingrained them in the technology build. You give away equity, you do that from the beginning, but to be fair, it wasn't about the equity. It was about getting our passion and our vision off the ground.
Yeah. 100%.
Having a technology lead that was passionate about what we were doing and having these experts steering our technology meant that we overcame the first challenge, right? We can actually start building something that is going to deliver pain versus solution
Yeah.
into the UK, but also internationally in the future. Now, the other challenge I discussed was money.
Yeah.
Yeah, money runs out
Yeah.
very quickly in a tech company. Tech companies burn cash. Some companies burn cash before they've even gone to market,
Yeah.
right? So our challenge was how do we continue to build on a budget? Now, the honest answer is that we had to invest our own money and our own savings into Support Room, which put us in a challenging position personally, right? And as we kind of move forward, what it proved to us is if we're putting money into our own business, we believed in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we believed in where it could go. So the challenge was the money, right? But us backing the company meant that we could keep going.
Yeah.
But the other challenge came from the resources that we had. So we had resources that we were using that were contractors, for example.
Yeah.
And the challenge that we had with contractors was things were never being delivered on time. Yeah. Or we were working with individuals that we had connections with, friends, for example.
Yeah.
And the problem with friends is at the beginning is what happens? They have their own jobs, they've got their own priorities, they've got people that are actually paying them, right? So actually the things that we needed in order to move forward and our technology team needed, we weren't provided them with. That was a huge challenge because we were getting things wrong.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Sometimes the designs for technology, if you don't have the designs there, how can your back end and front end developer actually take your product into the next phase?
Yeah, they need something to work with.
They're all working off designs that are 25% done, 50% done, 70% done, but then putting their own vision into where SupportRoom is going to go. And then when we got to a certain point, we're like, no, that's not the way it should have been.
Yeah.
And then our tech team were like, shit, right?
Yeah.
Guys, this is what we've built this now, and we had to keep pulling back.
Yeah.
So my advice to anyone that's developing anything is ensure that you've got you've got cash back in you, right?
Yeah.
You're smart with your cash. Yes, you do use your network and you try and get things for, sounds bad when I say for free, but in the future you always pay back the people that
100%.
supported you today. But also, you have advocates of what you're trying to achieve right from the beginning involved in your business, and make sure that you have experts or people that have been around the block from day one, surrounding you. And I think that will help you to overcome some challenges. But the challenges continue, they never stop, right? We went to market and the challenge was, right, how do we do this? Now we've got the platform. I
Yeah.
can remember, it was my wife's birthday, right? I'll never forget this. She was like, it's my birthday. Are you not taking me out? And I was like, no, SupportRoom is going live today.
Bad
Definitely.
timing.
I was in the bad books, right? I had to, it is what it is. But, I can remember the chat. I thought, oh my God, the startup's going to explode on the first day.
Yeah.
And zero. And I was like, oh my God, what have we done? Is this the right thing? Have we, is this going to work? But actually, it's about learning, right?
Yeah.
There's so many learnings from that first day, and there's learnings every single day.
Yeah,
And
we're always learning.
the challenges of money will never go away with a tech startup. You're burning through cash, but at the same time, goal is to create an operation within your business that becomes seamless and automated, right?
100%,
And
yeah.
the key focus is when you become seamless and automated, actually, you become a lot more efficient. And then you start delivering better account management. So you start retaining.
Yeah.
You have a functional sales team that's trained and highly motivated. They're actually steering your direct selling within UK and other markets as well. Your technology function, which is still not seamless at SupportRoom, but it is what it is.
We're getting
And look, marketing as well. Marketing is such an important function in terms of brand awareness and driving leads into the business and working with sales and other parts of the business. It's a key function that needs to be seamless as well. But there's challenges in every part of the business, and I think the biggest challenge for a founder is you're wearing every single hat across the business.
Yeah.
And the challenge will be that you'll be probably taken to the edge in terms of the hours you're working, your own commitments, money commitments, right? But the
Yeah.
key focus is to look at keep aligned with your vision, your mission, and the end goal, right?
Yeah.
That's what should keep you motivated as an individual. And when problems and challenges occur, it's about not breaking down. It's really about grouping your experts together, your advisors, or sitting down and actually brainstorming around that challenge. How do we overcome this? You know,
Yeah.
Sasha, we went through a challenge last week. Yeah,
Yeah.
a big challenge. Within a few days, that challenge is gone away, right?
Yeah.
And that's because as a team, we came together and what we did was we brainstormed and we put together a strategy that can actually work. And it may not work, but it's A/B tested, right? We
Yeah.
test everything as we move forward. Things work, they don't work, we make mistakes, and we keep moving forward. I think our biggest challenge, if I'm talking a lot here, but our biggest challenge was probably around November time last year. We went through a massive challenge when it came to our financials,
Yeah.
and we were signing clients. You know, we've only been around since August of last year, so that doesn't even put us at a year at the moment. But we were aggressively innovating our technology, and it put a huge strain on our bottom line.
Yeah.
And we got to a point where we could have run out of money, yeah, as a business, right? You know, clients weren't paying us in time. We had, you know, we had contracts on the table that we were negotiating, but it was still going to take maybe 3 or 4 months to get those contracts over the line. Um, so we really needed to get out that hole. And as a team, we came together as the exec team and we started brainstorming around ideas and ways to really kind of generate revenue. And we looked at different models around our direct selling, our partnership models. We looked at other models, sell-through models, and we started to develop different strategies. And actually, that took us out of the hole. But the biggest thing that took us out of the hole is we raised more capital, right?
Yeah.
Take us through into, you know, for the next 12 to 24 months.
Yeah. 100%. And I think, we've come a long way from then for sure. Lots of growing as a team, and even, individually for everyone within the team. To follow on from that question, somewhat similar, but perhaps more specific, what do you think the biggest success has been, but likewise, perhaps the biggest failure, and what have you learned from those?
I'll start with the failure. I think there's lots of failures.
Yeah.
I think one of our failures was when we started hiring for the first time, because last year there was only 4 of us.
Not many.
Yeah, today we're nearly, what, 40 or something like that. I can't remember the head count, but it's definitely increased quite a lot. But what I would say is we failed a lot on technology, but we've learned and we've built better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think failure with technology is great because you learn so much. I think our sales approach, God, was a huge failure when we first started, even though within the first 4 months we signed nearly 25 clients, whatever it was. I think our approach and our models that we had in place did not work.
Mm-hmm.
We had adoption models in place, and they just didn't allow us to get going quickly.
Yeah.
But it's all A/B testing, right? You try things, they don't work, you evolve. You kind of move the goalpost to a different, to a different pitch. But I think our first hire was probably a big mistake. It probably delayed us to go to market. That was a big failure on our part. Um, the hire we made was pretty much we needed a new business manager or a new business executive to really drive net new business in the UK. But actually, we hired an account manager, which was it probably delayed us by about 6 months. And I think that individual also realized that this wasn't the right role for them, which
Mm-hmm.
shit happens, right? But also, I think that failure turns into success because it made us realize the type of individuals that we needed within our organization to help us drive growth, yeah,
Yeah.
to help the performance of the business scale, right? And We needed a specific type of individual. And I think, did we get it right? I think in January of this year, we hired really aggressively. We've got it right and we've got it wrong. But I think the team we have today is a team that is the right team, right?
Yeah.
They've got the right motivations, they've got the right drive, they've got the right hunger, they're passionate about SupportRoom, they love being here, you know, they're opinionated, at the
Yeah.
same time very creative in their ideas. You know, my goal is always to listen and execute based on what employees think. And also, I think the training and development that we put into those sales individuals, you know, I hate this fact where people think, well, you have to fire people within 3 months. I think if they're definitely not right for the role, then I understand. But actually, we should be giving salespeople a lot longer to really kind of develop themselves and to develop themselves into the organization. So, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And what would you say, why is it important to acknowledge both wins and losses? What would you tell people with regards to that?
Wins are great. Yeah, we celebrate as a
Yeah.
team, as a company. You know, we announce a lot of our wins, which is fantastic. But also, when you win, you can lose as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You win a client, you don't account manage it, you don't build relationships in there, you don't network properly, you're not going to retain that client in 12 months.
Yeah,
They'll be
100%.
gone to one of your, they'll be gone to one of your competitors in no time, right? So the key focus is to win, but then also look at that win and say, what could we have done better, right?
Yeah.
We won the contract, great. Could have been a bigger contract. Um, could we have improved our sales process? Did the deal take too long to close? Could we have closed it in 6 months, for example?
Yeah.
Did we have the right people in the room from the beginning? So all of these things, you know, when you win, yes, you celebrate, but you should evaluate your wins as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
review them as a team. Yeah, I think the failures are great. I love failures because without failures, you can't drive success
Yeah.
unless
You
you're
don't
lucky,
know.
unless you win the lottery, right? And hopefully, maybe that'll happen one day.
Yeah,
But
hopefully.
the failures that we have had and still have shaped our business,
Yeah.
have shaped our people. Yeah. Sasha, you can probably say that actually you have had failures in our
Yeah.
company.
And I've
When
learned a
I,
lot from them.
it's our company, as I always say,
Yeah.
right? And guess what? You have evolved, you've become stronger as an
Yeah.
individual, and you have grown, right? But you can
Yeah.
never do that
100%.
without failure. Sometimes when things take you to the edge, you step back and you look at it and you go, okay, I could have done it better
Yeah.
like this. I could have done that better, right? And I think from all the things that we failed on, from technology, sometimes the finances, sometimes the sales, even account management, sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes, you know, even me as an individual, the way that I've managed probably, you know, there's failures that we all have to look at ourselves and understand what we went wrong and make them right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the key thing. And one of the things that I'm going to be introducing at Support Room is, you know, a monthly brainstorming session where we have the entire company and we have an agenda where we
Yeah.
go through all of the things that we've done wrong as an organization, and then we brainstorm in terms of how can we make this right.
Yeah. Perfect. I think it's a great idea. And then obviously, you know, support room, while we're very focused on mental health, we're also focused on other aspects such as self-help and holistic tools. How has your mental health been, you know, through the support room journey? You know, how have you made improvements to your own mental health and looked after yourself?
Yeah, I've clearly documented this actually. You know, when we started support room because obviously my cousin took his life,
Yeah.
and that definitely had an impact on my mental health and you know the way my growth and performance and all other areas of my life. But starting support room really drove me, you know, to do good things, to try and change the status quo of what you know, what was happening in the UK within companies, and just essentially to support people better. But you know, the company's evolved. We're today, we're holistic, you know, where mental health is one part of what we do in terms of wellness. We're also very performance and growth driven for organizations, but we really tackle three pillars today, which is the employee, the leader, and the organization. And that's typically, you know, what challenges, where the challenges we see and the solutions that we're trying to go help those organizations tackle. But in terms of my mental health, right, I would say it's always been up and down, right?
Yeah, it's not a linear thing.
Baby, got wife, you know, big families, and it's hard, and obviously financial stresses as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a roller coaster. I think there was times when, you know, as a founder, it's a lonely place sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do go into a dark place, but I think my wife has definitely helped me, and the people that are around me have definitely helped me to, you know, overcome some of those challenges. But also, we talk about self-help. I've helped myself,
Yeah.
right? I have access to therapy. I have access to coaches. I have access to mentors through SupportRoom, and I utilize all of these services, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I? You know, and these things have really helped me in terms of evaluating my work schedule, evaluating what I need to do in the moment and what things can wait, evaluating my health, and evaluating my work-life balance. Yeah. You know, there are going to be some days, and let's be transparent. Like, I will be working till 1 a.m. in the morning. You can't get away from it, right? It's your business, you're passionate about it. And if I don't lead from the front, then actually we're not going to get the things that we need to get done, right? But there are going to be days where, like the weekend, completely switch off now. Yeah. Friday afternoon, we stop, right? And we enjoy the weekend. You know, I don't bother most people, you know, after 5 p.m. now. I try not to. Going to the gym now, eating better, doing, you know, diets better. So it's a lot better now.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, it's easy for people to forget that even founders and leaders also struggle in terms of mental health from time to time. And it's good that, you know, you put in yourself first and your health first. And last but not least, what is the best advice you would give fellow, you know, entrepreneurs, fellow founders? What's the best advice you would give them, you know, to look after themselves and to look after their own mental health? While going through the startup process?
I think set your boundaries from day one when you first start, because otherwise you will be dragged. You'll be dragged through it, right? Because you're so passionate about things, about your business, and your business is not, you know, unless it's a miracle, it's not going to, you know, overnight be a success, right? Some businesses are, don't get me wrong, but the majority of businesses take time, hard work, and a lot of grey hair to get it to where it needs to get to. You know, some businesses take 10 years, some 5, and but it's around putting those boundaries in place. You know, having your work-life balance in place from day one, having a structure in place in terms of, in the morning, I go to the gym, I have my breakfast, make sure you eat correctly. These are my times I'm working. You know, this is my cool down period, right? This is when I'm going to have lunch, for example. Break that down, and also block times in your diary where, you know, people can't contact you, right? It's your time, and make sure that people are aware of that around you. Otherwise, you will be hounded at certain times, right? So it's about having that structure. Balance your family life as well, and that's important for any founder that's married or got kids, or has a partner, for example. Spend time with your family, because you don't get this time back,
No,
right?
100%. That's very, very true.
time goes really quickly. Like my boy is growing up so quickly, it's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know,
Like,
he's getting bigger by the day and he's changing. You know, you don't want to miss out on these things.
yeah.
But, you know, I speak to, sorry, just going back to the question, I think it's just about balancing everything from day one. It's everything that I didn't do that I wish I did,
Yeah.
right? I think the challenges with money and all of those kind of things when you're starting up, that's always going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no avoiding that.
Unless you get funding from day one or you've got a lot of backing from somewhere, you know, that's always going to be a challenge. But I think just having really good people around you, people that you can trust. You know, I'll give you an example. The person that I partnered with was one of my very good friends from university. Yeah. You know, we knew each other. I trusted him. Yeah. He wasn't an expert in this area, but guess what? He's still here and he
Yep.
still helps me. Yeah. And he still helps the company to steer in the right direction. So it's, you know, it's about having good people around you. And it doesn't always work out like that. But if you have a group of people around you, then you can always lean on different individuals.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think it's super important, you know, not
The
to,
other thing is stay focused on the end goal.
yeah,
That's it. That's
yeah,
what's going to get you up in the morning. You know, because I have days where I'm like, why did I do this?
yeah. It's not always easy.
Why did I start this? I should have just stuck to my day job. But guess what? I don't. Yeah, I think once your passion will drive you to the end. You
Yeah,
know, win or lose, yeah, it will drive you to the end. But you've got to have the belief that you're going to win.
yeah,
Yeah, and that winning culture is going to help you to get to 5 to 10 years.
yeah, 100%. And I think that that drive is also, you know, it's quite present throughout the team as well. So that's super important.
Sticking to your mission and your vision. Why did you first start the company? What was
Yeah,
the reason why you started the company? And
yeah,
never forgetting that, and never forgetting the people that actually helped you along the way. That's
yeah,
important.
yeah,
Yeah.
super important. No, 100%. And I think, yeah, you got to always got to remember why you started, and that will, you know, shine through for the business. But thank you so much for your time. Really good discussion. And hopefully everyone will join us for the next founders interview as well. So we'll speak to you then.
Thank you, Sasha.
Ash, bye.